Skepticism is the view that knowledge is hard to come by, and that we might not have nearly as much of it as we usually think. Now, if you're finding this a bit hard to understand, consider the following scenario. Suppose you plan to attend a wedding in 3 weeks, and you are asked whether you know that you will be there. Surely, you might think, the answer is yes, I know I'll be at that wedding. But now, focus on all the things that could happen that would prevent you from attending that wedding. A family member might fall seriously ill, or you might get a once-in-a-lifetime chance to attend a meeting of world leaders. Typically, when it comes to contingencies like this, we're much less willing to express certainty that they will not occur. So if you're anything like me, you're likely to say something like, "You're right. I don't know that nothing will come up that will prevent me from attending a wedding." But here's the catch. If you know that you will attend the wedding, then you should also know that you won't be prevented from attending the wedding. So you should be willing to completely discount all of those error possibilities. The pressure you might feel here to reduce your confidence in the face of error possibilities is what philosophers call skeptical pressure. Socrates thought that skepticism was fundamentally a virtuous attitude. There's clearly admirable humility in admitting when you don't know something, but it's important to recognize that skeptical pressure can be wielded for less than virtuous purposes as well. Politicians, for instance, can almost always retreat into a skeptical stance when faced with massive evidence that some policy of theirs will have bad results. And this is a familiar strategy in the corporate world as well. You may recall a series of infamous hearings in the 1990s, where representatives of the tobacco industry repeatedly called into question the well-established scientific consensus regarding the dangers of cigarette smoking. It should be clear that in many such cases, this kind of motivated thinking is not virtuous. So where does that leave us? Is skepticism good or bad? Is it fundamentally virtuous or is it vicious? The answer, it seems to me, is that in itself, skepticism is neither. Whether a particular instance of skepticism is rational or irrational, virtuous or vicious, is going to depend on the motivation behind it. If the motivation is a humble desire to seek the truth at all costs, then the skepticism will be virtuous. But if it's simply to introduce unnecessary doubt and confusion in order to advance a particular political agenda, for instance, then it seems to be vicious. Determining how skepticism is at work in a particular case will, of course, be very difficult. But at least now we know what to look for in initiating our investigation.